Okay, good evening YouTube. Welcome to episode 14 of the FPL Family in this 1920 season. This is our Game Week 6 reaction video and we got so much to talk about. This could genuinely be a 2-hour extravaganza, even more waffle for you tonight from the FPL Family, guys, because so much to talk about.
more waffle.
So much to talk about. And the first question I've got to ask you is KDB essential? What a guy. Is there a better player than Kevin De Bruyne in the Premier League right now?
No.
There isn't, is there? The guy was unbelievable. Despite even before the 8th goal that he completely just got it and he was just like,
I want part
why
of this.
not? I'm going to have a goal as well. Just absolutely smashed it past Ben Foster. Even before that, I know Bernardo Silva got a hat-trick. I know Aguero could have had, guys. If you captained Aguero, how do you feel? Get in the comments. Tell us if you're an Aguero captainer, how do you feel? Because a goal and an assist should not be sniffed at. But goodness me, Aguero could have had 4, 5.
I'll put it out there. I think he's the best in the world right now.
KDB.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many could City have had?
12.
Not underestimating it. It's not undercooking it to say that they could have had
I hope genuinely
easy double figures.
I hope that Watford are doing the honourable thing and refunding all of their fans. Because
Joe Philly Bannon, let us know. Let us know.
I mean, there's no excuse for that kind of behaviour.
The Slack on Saturday
We
when
were
that
out.
game was going on. We were out and about and your watch was going off. You get Slack notifications on your watch. The guys in the Slack were absolutely cracking us up. And then it was carnage, wasn't it? A whole afternoon, ping after ping after ping on the notification. And then Joe, bless Joe. What an absolute legend this guy is. He just popped up. He wasn't involved in any of the conversation.
No.
Popped up at full time and just went, was there some football on today? What a legend.
And I literally, honestly, I saw Joe's
What a
notification
legend.
and I just thought, what better way is there
Oh
to
my
deal
God.
with that? What better way is there? Just go, any football on today?
That's what we like. We like that here in
Loved
FPL
it.
Family.
I
We don't
love
take
that.
ourselves too seriously
No.
here at FPL Family. However, Sam, we do need to be serious for just a moment, guys. We need to be serious for just a moment because you guys that are following us on Twitter, if you're part of the Twitter community, you will know that there's loads of stuff on Twitter at the moment about this hacking stuff that's going on. People's FPL teams are being hacked into. People's Twitter accounts are being hacked into. Listen, we don't want to make too much of it, I don't think, tonight here. But what we do want to say is that it's not big, it's not clever, and whoever's doing it needs really to grow up a little bit, frankly. However, official FPL have come out. They have tweeted to say that they're looking into it. They're going to do everything they can to sort it out. So I don't want to go too much into it here.
There's nothing we can do about it.
There's nothing we can do about it other than to say, guys, listen, if you think that if you're worried about that this might happen to you, get in and change your password to something like ultra secure, right?
Yeah.
If you're on Twitter as well, and if you're worried about this, then go into the Twitter settings. There's an option to set 2-factor authentication, right? And for those of you that are not in the know necessarily with the lingo, that means that basically every time you log on to Twitter, or indeed someone else tries to log on to your Twitter, they need not just your password, but they will also need a code that gets sent to your phone or to your email address. And you can ask Twitter in the settings to turn on 2-factor authentication so that not only does the person trying to get into your account need your password, but even if they do guess that, then they'll need access to your phone or your email address. So that's important, guys. If you're worried about this, go turn that on.
That exists on Instagram as well. So you can do that on Instagram.
Oh, it's an Insta thing as well. 2-factor authentication, guys. Yeah. 2FA. If you're interested, if you're worried about what's going on at the moment in the FPL community, definitely go and do that and change your password in FPL.
Yeah, but all we can say is all the right people are looking into it. Hopefully
100%.
Hopefully it'll get sorted.
100%. So
there it is, guys. Everyone else.
There it is. That is all we want to say on that. But listen, if you're worried about it, go set up 2-factor authentication. Change your passwords. Get as secure as you can be. Right, on to the questions for this evening, guys. The poll questions for this evening come courtesy of our friends over... What is going on with your hair?
I don't know.
It's quite sort of...
It's everywhere. And I've nearly knocked my glasses. I don't know. Sorry, everyone. My hair's gone everywhere.
Do you need to take a moment to just sort your hair out? I can see you looking into the screen, not worried about what the live chat's doing, but worried about your hair.
With my hair? No, it's all right. I'll just live with it.
Happy to move on?
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, I mean.
Good, happy to move on. Right, questions come from your community, actually, over on the Instagram community. So, guys, thank you for commenting on Sam's post earlier if you're in the Instagram community. If you're not, go check it out at FPL Family over on Instagram. We do not just regular posts from Sam, but if you don't want to listen to my drivel and you want to listen to a proper FPL manager who is doing very, very well, guys, in overall rank right now, which we'll come to a bit later on. At FPL Family over on Instagram is the right place to be. Also loads of Insta reactions as well, little videos or videoettes that we do at the end of each game. Quick minute summary from an FPL perspective of all of the games that we watch live on TV.
There obviously wasn't one for Liverpool because we were going to do this, so it seemed a bit pointless.
And I was emotional, frankly. That was a close call today. Chelsea were very, very good.
Mention your emotions.
Chelsea were very, very good. Guys, here's the questions from the Instagram community. I'm going to find them on my phone so that I don't have to zoom in. I've deleted them off my phone. Sacrilege. Right, I need to read it off this tiny little screen, so I apologise. Who is the most crucial FPL asset from Man City, guys? KDB, Sterling, Aguero, Bernardo Silva, or other? So get into the live polls. Little white eye above my head. Those are the questions for this evening. That's the first one. That comes from Sammy. Let me see. Sammy DES Photos. Sammy Des Photos. So thank you for that on Instagram. Otto. I'm going to try and pronounce that surname. That is insane.
You'll kill it. Just say Otto.
Otto. Sorry, Otto. That is a hell of a surname, Otto. But thank you for answering the call for questions on Instagram. He's commented, best premium option for the next 5 to 6 game weeks. So the fixtures do take a little bit of a turn over the next 1 to 2 game weeks. So get into the polls. Let us know who you think is the right, or not the right, but your best pick for a premium over the next 5 to 6 game weeks. And there's a few options there that Otto asked for. Ariaman S18, thank you for the question. He says, best defender? Best defender under 5.5. Lundstrom, Mings, Toby, Otamendi or Soyuncu from Leicester. So get into the polls, answer that question. And the final one comes from Will the Thrill 45. Thank you, Will, for the question. He says, I like this question, by the way. Best budget attacking duos. Now, I don't know whether you necessarily put all of these into the budget category, but we're not talking, big bucks for some of these, like the Cities, the Liverpools, etc., etc. But
so hot.
Well, be worried if it was cold.
It's not normally that hot on my hand.
Good, okay. Are you in the game tonight?
The hair's gone funny. The tea is.
Are you getting a bit dizzy up there in the upper echelons of FPL? Do we need to rein you in a little bit?
I think it's more that you've beaten me in the last 2 game weeks.
I know, it's absolutely incredible. I'm still nowhere near you in overall ranks. That's how we roll here in FPL Family. Will the Thrill 445. Best budget attacking duos: Abraham and Mount, Pookie and Cantwell, Haller and Lanzini, Vardy and Maddison, or Rashford and Martial. So get in and tell us where you think the best budget attacking duos from an FPL perspective are going to be over the next few weeks. Is it Chelsea, Norwich, West Ham, Leicester, or Manchester United? And based on today, I'm not sure
with the 2 injured
that Mr. Rashford and Mr. Martial are going to get a hell of a lot of love, Sam. I don't think they're going to get a hell of a lot of love. Just as I was coming on, Josh was saying he doesn't want us to spend more than 42 seconds on Manchester United tonight. He's more than happy to give the Manchester United section to Watford. But frankly, after that performance this weekend...
We haven't got 42 seconds worth of things to say about Watford.
We haven't got 4.2 seconds to say about Watford either. We'll be spending most of our time on that game talking about the light blues of Manchester City.
If Joe's in, we better give him a bit of notice that that's coming, so he can go off and make a cup of tea, and then when he comes back, it'll be
I think that's absolutely the right thing to do. To do. Let's say hello to a few people. Guys, FPL Tips is here. Harry, how are you doing? Good evening and welcome. Andrew Yee is here. How are you doing? Neil Jackson is in. He's saying Barnes and Wood. Yeah, quite right. Yeah, missed that one out as a budget duo. Yeah,
probably better than Martial and Rashford.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, good shout. Although these were
they were mids and strikers, weren't they?
Those
options, whereas those would be 2 forwards.
We don't write the questions. We ask the guys on Instagram what they want answering, and that is what they wanted answering, guys. So you're right. If you're right, you get into the live chat, get into the comments below if you're watching the replay. Have we missed? We missed a key duo there, like Barnes and Wood. I think we might have. I think we might have Lee and Sam. You're 3.5 and about 14 mil. I'm a budget enabler.
No, you're definitely you're like Kane this week, like scoring. You might, scoring on your way down.
Oh, okay, all right. There's a few of you
Still
guys.
Out the park.
Steve Wynyard is saying no KDB in the poll. Stephen Lang, no KDB in the poll. Yeah, listen.
We didn't write the polls.
We don't write the polls.
We
ask for questions, and the guys give us the answers. Stealth Panda is here. Ken's is in. Hello, how are we doing? Liam Healy is in. He says, "Hey, and Sam, 27 points this week."
Liam, I'm genuinely.
Liam.
It genuinely got me when Liam posted in the Slack. He got 27. Yeah. I went,
sad times.
Liam really upset me, didn't it?
Sad times.
Can't Liam.
And do you know what? He posted his team.
But they're decent.
It looked okay.
I know.
I looked at it, I just thought there's no
nothing
wild
wrong.
card that.
No.
Wouldn't wholesale change it. So Liam, we're with you, brother. We're with you.
Next week is your week, Liam.
Next week, Liam,
Game week
is
7.
your week.
It's all about Liam.
Absolutely. It's very up and down this season. Very up and down. One good game week can shoot you up. One bad game week can shoot you down.
As we found last week and this week, right?
As we ourselves have found over the last 2 weeks, no doubt about that. Sean Thorpe is here. He of horse and duck fame. Sean Thorpe.
What the hell's the donkey got to do with anything?
The ducks and the horses.
Ducks and horses.
Sean is in. Thank you, Sean, for joining us.
Henry international break's coming again soon, isn't it?
Are we going to do another Ask Us Anything?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Jesus.
What's Sean going to ask now?
Sean, get your question ready. I dread to think what it's going to be. I was going to say, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, no, this is an old joke. It's an old joke. Just forget it. FPL Guru is here. How are we doing? Z Ludo is in. How are we doing? Z Honey Glazed Gammon is in. Honey Glazed. How are we doing? Spurs bouncing from one crisis to the next. He says.
Who said that?
Honey Glazed Gammon.
Well,
crisis.
I'll tell you what. He's got it in a nutshell.
What?
Well, what is wrong with us?
Where is the staunch? Where's the goggles? Every week you come on here and you defend them to the hilt, to the point
Not
where
away from home, I won't defend them. We were absolutely...
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah. Well, they better be better next week, I'm telling you, because I'll be throwing things out of my seat.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
My curry pie will get chucked.
You're going next week, aren't you? Yeah. Southampton home.
I'll tell you what, if we don't beat Southampton at home, the instant reaction after that game will be...
I'll tell you what, Sam, there's pressure now.
I'll be quiet.
Pressure on that game. You got to win that.
We've got to win every game from now to the end of the season, Lee.
But listen, you lose that game and he is going to be under pressure, Pochettino.
But the man Kane. Scores on his way, falling over.
Quite a nice goal as well. I like that. Karam is in. Kun Karam, how are we doing? How are you, Sam and Lee? We are doing very well, Karam.
Right,
very well. El Pipe is here. How are we doing? Liam Rist is in. Vestergaard hat-trick next week, he says, at the London Stadium, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Ash Brown is here. Joseph O'Gorman, Andrew Macedo, the Tesso, and a whole host of you guys. So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us here on FPL Family. If you've not checked out our Twitter, there it is on the left-hand side, at FPL Family over there. As we mentioned before, we're also at FPL Family over on Instagram. If you're not following us on either of those, we would love you to do so. And of course, on the Facebook.
I mean, to be honest, I've forgotten about the Facebook
What's
this week.
What's new?
No, last week I was quite good on the Facebook. This week's it's been rubbish, sorry.
Okay, but the Instagram's great.
The Instagram's great.
Instagram is great.
I did a whole thing the other day. I did an Ask Me Anything. It was brilliant.
Very good. if you do say so yourself.
No, it was brilliant because so many of them, like I had so many questions, my phone went mental. I had to stop and go and do the school run and come back and finish it because I had so many questions.
Steve Wynyard is in. Thank you for the super chat, Steve. He's saying, Sam, it could be worse. You could be a United fan.
Oh, Steve, I feel like you and I could drown our sorrows together this week.
Yeah, it's feeling a bit like
Josh,
that. United and Spurs fans, literally united in grief.
I thought we were going to add the Arsenal fans in, but they saved themselves at the last minute.
Very good. So listen, we're already encroaching upon the games, and we need to very quickly get over to the game week. Here are the results, and as much as I would like to start with, what we've talked about, the Spurs crisis and the Manchester United crisis, there is only one place to start, and that is at the Etihad. What a performance by Manchester City. How much of it do you put down to Man City's brilliance versus Watford's inability to do anything? And before you answer that, just going to answer FPL Tips. Thank you for the super chat. He says he can't do this anymore. Aguero is in twice, no KDB. So it looks as if I've already screwed up the polls. So sorry about that, guys. I'm sure Aguero is going to get his fair share of votes in that poll.
Because KDB should have been in that first poll.
Oh, he absolutely should be. Yeah, absolutely. So the first Aguero...
Readers Aguero. The second Aguero
is KDB.
Readers KDB.
Excellent. Right, so if you want KDB in that poll, guys, go to the second Aguero. Very good. Thank you, Tips, for pointing that out. So the question for you, Sam,
Can't trust you with anything.
You cannot trust me with polls. To be fair, that is my first screw up with polls for a long time. They've been quite good for a little while.
Yeah, to be fair, they've been all right.
It's the first one we've had for a little while.
Apart from in the opening game week or something where you left last season's polls on.
Yes, yeah. And I have...
that was the last mistake, I think.
Correct, yeah. Okay, but listen. Moving on.
Watford,
Man City
how
8,
about
Watford 0. We actually can't get the whole of the FPL game on the screen here. It literally... I'm not going to zoom out because it'll mess up the OBS, but you cannot physically fit on a screen all of the points that were raked in by Man City assets. So talk us through the game. What was your thoughts?
I think. Okay, let's just start with the Watford question that you asked me a minute ago. Then I think partly it was because Watford was so poor, but I think Watford it was almost like they just gave up. It wasn't. It was. Yeah, they just gave up effectively.
The body language was not good from Watford at all. I noticed that. Even from the kick-off, it was not good.
When you go 1-0 down after, what was it, like a minute?
Literally a minute, yeah.
And then you're 4-0 down within... was it 5-0 down within 17 minutes?
18 minutes, 5-0, yeah. No team has ever reached 5-0 quicker than that in the Premier League, which is not surprising, frankly.
No, but when that happens, you can't... There's no coming back from that, is there? There's no, like...
So what's your feeling about Watford from an FPL perspective then? We were expecting a bit of new manager bounce. They got a good result against Arsenal, although they were particularly bad in that first half against Arsenal too. So there's a bit of a theme coming out here where they don't switch on, Watford. They don't get in the game quick enough.
Yeah.
And they were dire against Arsenal in that first half. And they got obviously a bit of a rocket at half-time and they salvaged something from the game.
Yeah.
From Arsenal errors, actually. Not necessarily from their good play, right? But from Arsenal errors. And then in the game against Man City, they've obviously gone out with a similar mindset to that game. And at the Etihad, you cannot do that. They will put you to the sword, and they did.
Particularly against a wounded Manchester City, because they were bouncing back from that Norwich result last week.
Yeah, they were always going to want to give something back to the fans. Absolutely.
So they wanted to come out and respond, and Watford it was almost like they'd not got off the coach for the first 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And then they sort of got a little bit better in the second half, but not really. I think, it's twofold, isn't it? I thought Watford were particularly poor, and from an FPL point of view, there wasn't anybody that I would even vaguely consider having.
There was one effort from Deulofeu at the beginning of the game. He put Otamendi on his backside. If he scores that, it could be different. I don't know, and it's 1-1 and it's different. But listen, they were not good.
I think what we're learning from an FPL point of view this season is that with a team like Watford, as a unit, they're not performing well. And when that's happening, it's very hard to pick out the assets that are going to drag them up. It's the same with Arsenal, and we can talk about them later. Okay. It's hard when they're not performing together as a unit very well, it's hard to then pull one out. So for me, Watford are a no. Manchester City, on the other hand...
I just want to make this really nice comment here from FPL Classico in the live chat. Welcome, FPL Classico. Deulofeu's heat map was insane for that game. Red at the kickoff spot since he touched the ball 8 times after a joke. If that's a joke, it's a great joke. If it's reality, I love it even more.
Please, can somebody send us that heat map? I want to see it now.
Get over to Twitter and Instagram. Tweet us that Deulofeu heat map with the dot in the middle. That's absolutely superb. Go on then. So let's enough about Watford. Go on, City.
All right, so we go back again into the Pep Roulette, and I think when that team sheet came out, I was surprised to see both Zinchenko and Sterling bench. Well, Zinchenko not even in the squad, but Sterling benched.
But that can happen.
I
was on the FPL pod earlier in the week, and James was asking me about my feeling on Sterling and whether he'd get rotated. I said, well, look, I'm going to play him. I've got him in my team. I prefer to have Aguero this week, but it would have cost me a -4. So I'm not going to switch Sterling to Aguero. But I was very wary of captaining him. Very wary of captaining him. And I did in the end. I was quite wary of captaining him though, because I thought he played 90 minutes in Europe. It would be classic Pep to rest him against a pretty dire-looking Watford side, right?
I think
you're always going to get that.
Well, absolutely. But I was expecting, and I think when I was talking to people on Friday evening about what I thought Pep might do this week, I was expecting him to, because of the result against Norwich, I was expecting him to start with his best and then destroy Watford within 20 minutes, as we saw, and then pull them off. The likes of Sterling, he played 90 minutes in midweek, and I was expecting Aguero to come off for Jesus at some point during that game. So there was all of that kind of what I was expecting to pan out. So I wasn't expecting to see him benched, and I wasn't expecting Zinchenko to miss out altogether. So I played him, and I explained over on Instagram. I very nearly... Oh, actually, did I? Explained on Ohana what I was doing, why I didn't get rid of Zinchenko this week. I'm not sure I did on Instagram. But I kept Zinchenko this week.
What are you thinking about Zinchenko going forward?
No, I still don't want him.
Right.
So
okay.
him and Dino, I still don't want to own either of them. But
I think there's that niggle now, isn't there? He was pretty nailed on in that spot, other than potentially Angelino, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Angelino was always going to be second fiddle to whoever it is that gets that spot. But now that Mendy's back, there's just that little uncertainty of doubt. And we said this time last week that with Zinchenko, he might tick you over the 6 points.
But he's never going to get attacking.
He's not really that attacking.
No.
In the same way that Otamendi carries a bit of threat, or that Mendy clearly carries a bit of threat, even though he got hauled off at half-time too.
Yeah.
So Zinchenko out for you this game week?
Yeah. And the only reason he didn't go last week is because I was waiting to see what happened with Kane and Son this week before making a decision, because I wanted 2 frees and a -4 next week. If I wanted to do the Kane someone, and that would include losing two of my premium defenders. Okay. As it is now, I'm kind of at a bit of a quandary point because my original plan was to free up some money by downgrading Zinchenko, but actually I looked at Otamendi, who we said last week he isn't always going to keep clean sheets, but did look good attacking wise against Norwich. Sure. And then obviously in this game week was great attacking wise and kept the clean sheet. And what did he get you? 15 points or something?
15 points, yeah, no bonus sadly, but with the goals flying in everywhere else, you can sort of understand it, I suppose.
So from that point of view, you suddenly kind of have to question whether it's the right thing to do to move off of City.
So you're no Aguero or Sterling right now. You've got KDB and Zinchenko.
Correct.
What's your thoughts on bringing in one of the other two big hitters?
Well, I'm still very wary about Aguero and his minutes. I still think that there's going to be rotation with him.
I think you've got to hand it to him though. Even when he's coming on for half a game, he's blitzing it. Aguero is having such a great season.
But would I rather have Aubameyang or Kane that are going to play 90 minutes? Because that's where we are. That's where you are.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe.
Would I like to have another City player? And this is my issue, is that I can't really afford to have Sterling. I'm not sure I want Sterling at the moment, to be quite honest. I'm not seeing enough from him.
I don't think you'd bring him in right now.
No, exactly.
I don't think so.
So I'm now thinking, well, with City able to perform in the way that they did this week, do I really want to go down to just owning KDB? Because that's what I'd be doing. I'd be only owning one of them, but if I get rid of Zinchenko.
What I will say about owning KDB, though, sorry to cut you off, is that he is now surely in first position for captain choice, isn't he? Of those City assets, he and Aguero. It's hard to rule Sterling out, isn't it? I mean, all three of them, but KDB he's absolutely up there, isn't he? If you haven't got Sterling or Aguero, but you do have KDB, which is the situation you're in, you can go into those nice City games, go to any City game, frankly, and put the armband on Kevin De Bruyne, knowing that it's a pretty safe pick, isn't it?
I haven't moved my captain's armband off KDB.
He's been fantastic
for
3
weeks now.
Absolutely.
And I don't see any reason to move him off unless the fixture for somebody else is that good. I don't see any reason to move it off of him.
Okay. And
in which case, then why am I going to spend more money on a City asset I'm not going to captain?
All right. Let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat. Robert Dinsmore, thank you, Robert. After Sterling has been rested, he'll be back on form. So that is actually my quandary, no doubt about it. And get in the comments, guys. Let us know what you think. Yeah, for sure. Now that Sterling has had his rest, it's a bit like, well,
you wouldn't get him out.
Take him out now because he's had that rest. They play in the League Cup in the week.
Yeah, he won't play.
Going to play a second 11, isn't he? He's not going to play De Bruyne, Sterling, Aguero in that.
No.
At long shot, he might play Jesus and Mahrez and those sorts of guys.
Full time off, isn't he?
So Sterling is going to have a pretty good break. I'd be amazed if he plays him in the League Cup.
Week and a half, 10 days.
And if that's the case, then you want Sterling, I think, after that, because had a nice rest coming into next game week. So I feel very reluctant, guys, to be honest, selling Sterling if I was going to sell him this game, which I don't think I am.
The thing is, we do have to be, yes, you're right in what you've just said about the League Cup this week. There is going to be rotation. We would expect Man City to be playing a much, much weaker side in the Cup this week. But then we go back into Champions League fixtures again the week after. So we will be going back into rotation again.
Okay.
And that's, for me, where I think Aguero's minutes get. Because he's the only one now.
Okay, let's see what you guys are saying. Paul Bobbin, he says, hashtag, thank you, Sam. KDB captain, as you suggested, went with it. 83 points with the Sterling blank. Absolutely great stuff.
He's a hero, that
Aryaman18 also saying, KDB captain, thank you, Sam, for telling me to put the armband on KDB. So another happy KDB captainer. MZ Ludo is saying, planning to move Digne out.
Yeah.
What do you think of the replacement? So tell me, before you talk about Digne specifically, strange result that, right? I'm trying to find it. Here it is. Strange result. Was not expecting Everton to lose at home to Sheffield United. Had it been at Sheffield United, that would have been a bit more difficult. Sheffield United looked difficult to beat at home. Everton's home form is very, very good. But I tell you what, I think, they were very resolute. Everton were good in the first half, were bombarding that Sheffield United goal, but they stood firm. And then when, by the time Lundstrom pops up with, frankly, what is a very, very cultured assist, the way that he bent that ball round for Musset was really, really nice. What we've got in Lundstrom, if you haven't got him already, guys, I think he's absolutely one to have. He's 4.3, and he's like an out-of-position creative midfielder with a little bit of goal threat as well. I mean, what's not to like about him? He's absolutely brilliant.
Not only that, but every time they get a clean sheet, which is becoming a bit of a thing, he's getting an extra 4 points, or an extra 3 points of what he would have get as a midfielder.
It's not as if Sheffield United are leaky, right?
They
can keep a clean sheet.
Lundstrom
so guys,
is a gift.
I think less said about Lundstrom the better, because you just need to be on him.
I mean,
but Everton. Talking about Everton, because it was an odd game, and I didn't see a lot of Everton in particular. The guys up front are just not getting Moise Kean yet. I guess he's young, he's got to settle into the game, he's got to understand the Premier League, I get that. However, at the other end of the scale, I'm not seeing even anywhere near enough of like Sigurdsson and Richarlison. So what is going on in that attack?
It was really interesting, wasn't it? Driving home yesterday, we were out for the day, and when we were driving home, we were listening to TalkSport, and they had a few Everton fans on, didn't they? Talking about who had been at the game, talking about their experience watching the game yesterday, and they were all talking about a lack of leadership on that pitch, and actually you see that.
Yes, agree.
You see that when you watch them on Match of the Day, is that there's a lack of anybody taking the team by the scruff of the neck and going, come on, we they lost that goal, they went 1-0 down, and then it's like nobody's there kind of motivating the team to go on and to try and get something back from the game. Their heads go down.
Pickford strikes me as that sort of vocal sort of player, but do they listen to it? I don't know. Or maybe being in goal and not on the pitch, you can't influence it quite as much in terms of what's going on.
I must be honest, I am in the camp of I don't really like the keeper being the captain. We have it at Spurs. I'm not a big fan of it.
I mean, he's not the captain,
no,
right?
No.
But he's got what I mean. He's that sort of vocal player.
It's the same principle, isn't it? But the captain should be the one that's making those decisions. Now, Pickford could do it, but that defence is...
They are conceding a lot of goals right now.
It's shaky. And
I
get the impression that Pickford can't manage the defence in front of him. So how's he going to lead the rest of the team, you know?
Yeah.
I just think there's a problem at Everton. Now, from an Everton Digne owner point of view, I actually didn't expect Everton to do very well in that game. So I played Henderson in goal and Digne, because I could see it being just 0-0, and I didn't want to double up on the Sheffield in case I got it wrong.
Did you do another double Sheffield clean sheet?
No, I didn't. I benched Lundstrom, but he came on because Zinchenko didn't play.
Oh my god, so jammy.
He came on for Zinchenko, but
did you have McGinn on the bench as well?
Yeah, he came on for...
Oh my god, we're going to review your team later on, but you've got Lundstrom and McGinn coming on.
Yeah, they came on for Lanzini and Zinchenko.
Oh my god, how do you do this?
What?
So annoying. So annoying. Right, we'll come to your team later on. Go on, Everton.
So for me, it's 100% Digne out. I don't see... I get that there's attacking returns there, but in terms of the team as a whole, there's no leadership, there's no togetherness or unity, so I can't see him getting that many assists because the rest of the team aren't moving around properly. So for me, there's no clean sheets at the moment. There's a smaller chance of attacking returns. So why keep him? He's at that price point where there are other players who are getting attacking returns and keeping clean sheets who are either the same price or cheaper. So it makes no sense.
Do you know what I thought about Everton? I thought it was predictable. I thought they look for Digne on that left, they look for Sigurdsson on the right to cross the ball in, and they try and either get a header on target, or they try and Keane or whoever it is up there tries to win the ball and drop it off to Richarlison, or Bernard, or Walcott even got a bit of a game, didn't he, towards the end of that game at the weekend. So it just feels a bit predictable.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Glad I didn't do Digne on my wildcard. He will get attacking points, right? He will get assists, and he might get the odd free kick. There's no doubt about it. But with him at that price point, you do want clean sheets, and you're just not going to get him at the minute.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's move on. Everton 0, Sheffield United 2. Mr. Lundstrom nailed in your team, guys.
If you haven't
need to
get him.
Absolutely sensational. Let's talk about Chelsea 1, Liverpool 2. Phew is all I can say at the end of that game. A really, really great game. Before we talk about it, let's go to Steve. Steve with the super chat. Thank you, Steve Wynyard, for the super chat. Digne downgrade to get Mount for McGinn. 2 free transfers was the plan, but not sure now. Maybe hold McGinn. Well, listen, we're going to come to McGinn a bit later on when we talk about Villa.
Digne downgrade, yes, but... lose Matt McGinn.
Yeah, but also Mount in I like. Mount.
Yeah, I do, but have you got anyone else you could lose?
I thought he was very good, and I thought he, in particular, given the uncertainty that was around Mount coming up to that game, the ankle problem in midweek, was he going to play? There was a lot of uncertainty, but he played. It felt as if he took a bit of time to get into the game, Mount, but actually Chelsea played very, very well. And again, he was that attacking fulcrum. And with Kante now sitting in the middle, I thought Kante, I know he got the goal, so therefore he'll be on FPL radars. I don't necessarily see him as a major transfer-in option, N'Golo Kante, but he does make a massive difference to that Chelsea side. They are so much better when he plays, and it releases the likes of Mount to go and do whatever Mount wants to do. On the odd set piece and free kick as well, I think on some corners. Mason Mount, 6.5 million, I think, in FPL. Still a really, really good price. Are you considering, because you're a Tammy Abraham owner, aren't you?
I'm indeed a Tammy Abraham owner, finally. No, I'm not. And it's actually got zero to do with Mount and everything to do with the fact that I really like my midfielders as they are at the moment.
Yeah.
If Lanzini is long-term injured...
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is, but if he is, then I've got to do something about him. But I really like my midfield. They're doing really well at the moment. And so the only spot that's really up for grabs is Lanzini's, and that's only really up for grabs if Lanzini is really injured. So that's the only place Mount could take. Now,
is the double up a bit too much in your opinion? I mean, the fixtures look sensational for Chelsea.
The fixtures are great. Mount and Abraham's form is great. I know that neither did anything today, but that's unlucky. They both could have done some stuff today.
Yeah, Abraham was third in the game week for XG underperformance, so potentially a little bit unlucky. Yeah. Got in some nice positions.
And Mount had a good one right at the end as well. That was unlucky. It didn't go in.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, there is definitely scope for the double up, but the problem is that there are so many people in that price point, and Mount is that much more expensive now because of all the price rises that he's had. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to start it with just Tammy and then see how we are in a game week's time, because the Chelsea one is nice for a while, so missing out on one isn't the end of the world. And I think it will be interesting to see how Chelsea play against the slightly lesser sides, because we know that they can step it up when they're playing against the bigger teams. And I thought Chelsea were really unlucky not to get something out of that game against you today.
I thought they were. I think Tammy Abraham in particular is a nice pick over those fixtures. We've just seen in the last couple of game weeks how good he can be against some of the, let's call them the lesser defenders. It was always going to be a challenge for him to get something out of Van Dijk and Matip today, no question. But against the poorer defences, let's say, and he's coming up against some of those so-called poorer defences over the next 4 to 5 weeks, he's going to do well. He's going to do well. But I do like Mount as well. A lot of you guys are saying what happens to Mount when Callum Hudson-Odoi comes back, because CHO is pretty much I think ready to come back-ish from his injury. Now, in my view, I think, and Chelsea fans and tips is in, you can tell me if you disagree, I expect Callum Hudson-Odoi to probably go left with Mount in the middle. Now, where does that leave Pulisic? Here's an interesting one. Where does that leave Pulisic? Benched again today. Their big money signing from January, only arrived in the summer, benched now in back-to-back games. Finding it difficult to even get a space in that team when the young players are playing so well. I think that Mount and potentially Hudson-Odoi, they're going to keep him out for the time being.
And they should keep him out because their form has been great. Yeah. And they've been the ones that have been lighting Chelsea up. And Pulisic, when he's come on the pitch, hasn't done a lot. Now, partly that's coming... It's coming out of a different game, isn't it? It is hard to just take that step up sometimes to the Premier League when you first arrive, particularly if you're not getting consistent games and consistent runs in the team. I think Pulisic will be a decent player for them, but just not yet. All right.
So Tips is in. He's saying Mount is nailed. Trust me, he says. Tips is a season ticket holder.
You'd be mad to drop him.
Mount stays. Pulisic won't start. Willian potentially out for Hudson-Odoi. Yeah, I could absolutely see that happening, Tips. Could absolutely see that happening. FPLK, thank you for the super chat. He's saying, Sam, what do you make of this? Digne and Barnes out. Tomori and Abraham for a hit. So going all in Chelsea with Digne and Barnes to make way. What do you think? Worth a minus
I like the losing Digne. I'm not sure about losing Barnes. One bad game week doesn't make a bad FPL asset.
A couple of blanks now. So yeah, people getting a bit twitchy with Barnes.
But I do really like Abraham for these coming fixtures, so I probably would do it.
Very good. All right, and Liverpool for their part in that game. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold, despite the booking and Liverpool doing what they usually do, which is...
booked?
For time wasting as well. So annoying.
Idiot, man.
So annoying, I know. And Liverpool doing what they usually do, which is conceding sloppy goals when we're in commanding positions in games. It's a bit of a worrying trend now that we seem to be doing this a bit too often. But nevertheless...
You get complacent.
Trent gets his goal. It was his first goal this season. First goal for a long time. And I remember thinking, I'm sure he scored against Burnley. But that Burnley goal was like an own goal off of Chris Wood, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah.
So actually, it was Trent's first goal of the season. But you are going to get that. If you invest in him, he does take those set pieces. And as soon as Mane went down for that free kick, I'm thinking... It's got Trent written all over it, this one. And Salah gets the jammiest assist award for this, actually this season so far, because Mane owners, not only should you be perhaps a little bit concerned with the fact that he went off with a pretty heavy knock, wouldn't expect to see Mane now in the League Cup in midweek.
No.
Whether we'd have seen him anyway, I don't know.
Not against MK
Will he be okay for next game week? Let's wait and see. But nevertheless, Mane owners expecting the assist from that free kick, having won it, and Salah gets it with the cheeky little back heel setup for Trent. But Trent tucks it away really, really nicely. Firmino, again, on the score sheet.
I love him.
What are we saying now? I feel like we say it every damn week. Should we be getting him?
Oh, I really want him.
He looks so good this season. He's so good. It's goals, it's assists. He's getting points from everywhere, guys. 3 bonus points again today as well. If he's not assisting, he's getting involved. He's scoring goals. He is a really, really nice option. And ahead of the run of fixtures that Leicester have got coming up, I'm trying to make a decision right now between Vardy and Firmino.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
One.
Before we came on, Josh said to me that he was thinking about going without Mane and Salah and having just Firmino. Now, what do you think about this? Because for me, that would enable, doing something along those lines enables those midfielder spots, which are a bit more fought after. I think there's so many decent options there. Is it a viable strategy to not have either Salah or Mane and just have Firmino, or do we think you need to have Salah or Mane and Firmino?
I think it's starting to become potentially more and more of a thing, actually. Yeah, I think over the last few weeks I've said, well, if you want Firmino, you've got to kind of couple him up with Salah or Mane.
Yeah.
To kind of go all in on that Liverpool attack as a differential. Starting to think that maybe Firmino could replace those guys. He could. I mean, what are you going to save? 3 million over Salah, 2 million over Mane. It's a tough one. I think the point I make on it is that would you trust Firmino with the armband? Would you trust him? And I actually think the answer to that is yes right now. I think you would. In the same way that with the Man City assets, we're all piling on to Sterling and Aguero. Would you trust KDB with the armband? Clearly the answer is yes.
Every week.
And I'm not going to say Firmino is up at KDB levels right now, but he is playing very, very well, having a very good season. I'm starting to feel, I'm not going to answer your question yes. Notice how I'm really swerving the question. But I'm not going to say yes, but goodness me, he's a very, very nice option right now. If you said to me, if Josh says on the Slack, would you get rid of one of those two and bring in, or not that? If he said, I am massively considering getting rid of Salah to do Firmino and maybe get, KDB or Pepe or Son, I'd be like, wouldn't tell you not to do it, Josh.
There you go, Josh.
Wouldn't tell you not to do it. Firmino is in absolutely brilliant form right now.
Do you know what? The only thing that really worries me about Firmino is how streaky he is. So we've seen in previous seasons that Firmino is brilliant for a few weeks and then he kind of goes off the boil, not in terms of a football point of view, because I think from a football perspective he's always brilliant, but he goes off the boil in terms of scoring points himself. He does a lot of assists and that sort of stuff, getting the ball in good positions, moving it around. Then the streak kind of tapers and then we start to see it kick back off again.
Do you know what? I think that is a very 18-19 comment.
Oh,
I do. I think you're a year too late with that comment. I think Firmino is far more.
This is his year? He
is far more consistent this year.
This is his streak-free year.
Far more consistent. I know exactly what you're saying. Last year we used to see it, and even if he didn't get FPL points, you'd see those performances in streaks. Yeah. He's not performing bad. I haven't seen him put in a bad shift yet.
No,
he's been very, very good indeed.
I'm
and maybe
intrigued.
You're right. Maybe the start of this season is a streak, and maybe we're about to see a fall off in performance. But I just think we're seeing a happier Bobby Firmino. I go back to that ridiculous video where he pulled that face after the Mane and Salah incident at Burnley the other week. There's a player that's happy with what he's doing, not taking life too seriously. He's over his little niggle with his calf or knee, whatever it was in the summer. Yeah. He is a happy guy right now and he's playing the best football of his life, in my opinion.
For me, Firmino's always been for Christmas, but maybe he shouldn't be. Maybe he should be for life, maybe.
Maybe it's not like just for Christmas. Azzy, thank you for the super chat. He's saying the commentator in the Chelsea and Liverpool games, they mentioned about Trent Alexander-Arnold wanting to add goals to what he's doing. Well, if that is the case, then that is absolutely what we want to hear. And amidst all of the talk about budget defenders, we're getting off of Digne, we're getting off of Zinchenko, and we're going to Soyuncu and all these 4.5s. Trent Alexander-Arnold, guys, I still think needs to be a fixture in your team. He's got such attacking threat. Delivery was good again today, and last week could have easily had a goal despite the clean sheet disappearing. So there we go. I think that is enough said on Liverpool. Robertson with a nice assist and 3 bonus points as well. So listen, if you've got them both, if you're still doubled on Liverpool defence.
Could have been so much better though if you hadn't have made those silly mistakes.
Could have been, but the fullbacks are still producing attacking returns. I don't think you want to get rid of them.
No.
Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 2. We didn't watch this game simply because it was on at the same time as the Liverpool game. So I really want to watch Match Today and find out how my man Pepe got on, because I put Pepe in as a punt a couple of weeks ago. He did not pass that test against Watford last game week. But today with 8 points, I'm pretty happy to take those 8 points, clearly. A penalty goal and 2 bonus points. Now, I don't know.
On penalties?
Well, listen, he was on penalties in France last season, scored 22 goals, of which 11 were penalties last season. So he is a penalty taker, yeah. However, I wonder whether there's some precedent with Aubameyang here, because Aubameyang clearly was the penalty taker at Arsenal. And if you remember, Lacazette, when he was going for a bit of a lean patch, I think Arsenal got a penalty and Aubameyang was like, right, you take it because I need you to get off the mark for this season. I want you to get some goals. Now, I wonder whether that has happened with Pepe today. I wonder whether the usual penalty taker, Aubameyang, has said, look, go and get yourself off the mark, son. Go and get the monkey off your back. Then you've scored and then you can just start playing. And I wonder whether Aubameyang goes back on penalties from next game week onwards. I think that's the case. I think that's the case. But listen, I'm not going to moan about the 8 points. Very, very happy with that.
Interesting.
I think I just saw another super chat coming, guys. So let me just answer this question. Toxic Fusion, thank you. West Ham fan put £50 on us, got 170 quid. Love the show. Very good.
Love it.
Very nice, very nice. We'll be talking about West Ham in just a second. But let's finish up on Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Aubameyang in the goals again. Pepe in the goals, which we've already discussed, which is great. So Arsenal assets, you've got to hand it to Arsenal, right? I've said before on FPL Pods and on FYI and all these places that we are seeing a very different Arsenal this season, I think. Now, against Watford, you could argue we saw a very similar Arsenal to what we're seeing, right? Bottled it. 2-0 away, bottled it. Now, today, we're down to 10 men because Mr. Maitland-Niles got sent off, a defender that some of us were bringing in, right? If you bought in Maitland-Niles, that is just bad luck, guys, honestly, real bad luck. So with the majority of the game at 10 men, after going 2-1 down after just scoring that penalty, they then came back and win the game 3-2. For me, that shows a lot of character that I don't think we've seen in previous Arsenal sides.
No, and what was interesting is all the Arsenal fans, the amount of Emery outs that were going on until the 86th minute, and then all of a sudden...
They do that though, Arsenal, don't they? Arsenal do that.
It's all, isn't all life rosy.
I'm seeing Adam on Twitter at 352. If you're not following Adam, he's an avid Arsenal fan. He's one of the Arsenal correspondents for Planet FPL podcast. You need to go and follow him at 352 Adam over on Twitter. Yeah, the tweets are great.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
It was
today.
just like, yeah, and it says something like, typical Arsenal, same old, and I'm talking, he was saying, and I should be putting sackable in my tweets from now on and things like that. So they get emotional, Arsenal fans. That's what I love about Arsenal fans. They're so emotional. It's brilliant.
Get so upset, and then all of a sudden, they're like children.
It's like, yeah, we'll win the league.
Oh, so upset. Emery out. Oh, we're going to win the league. What? Literally, it's funny.
As FPL Chancellor is saying, Dan is here. How are you doing, Dan? He's saying,
Dan.
Arsenal seem to be getting results in spite of Emery's decisions. It's a very strange dynamic. Well, listen, Dan, I didn't see the game today. I'm going to watch the highlights. From what I've seen on Twitter, some of the Arsenal fan reaction, as you quite rightly say, some of them are calling for Emery's head with some of the decisions he's making.
Yeah, but they won't be now.
But is it because Aubameyang just pulled them out of the mire again?
Of course it is.
They've got a class player there, and he just seems to
They were
pop
asking
up
for
when
him
they
to be
need
sacked
him.
before full time during this game,
Yeah,
and then Aubameyang scored in the 85th minute or whatever it was, and all is forgiven. Look, I don't know. I mean, from an FPL point of view, I keep saying week on week, I really want to have an Arsenal asset because the fixtures are nice and there's going to be goals, and then it's
Outside of Aubameyang.
You've got to have
Not
Aubameyang.
convinced.
I think you've got to have Aubameyang. If you want to have an Arsenal player, I kind of can't see past him. I don't see anyone else.
Well, I certainly feel like I dodged a mini bullet on my wildcard a couple of weeks ago when, it was actually Adam 352. He talked me out of getting Ceballos on my wildcard. I was quite keen to get him.
Right.
And he was talking me into Pepe, and okay, that's sort of paid off. I don't know. I guess this week it has. But Ceballos, as Josh is saying quite rightly in the live chat, I mean, if you've got him, it's looking increasingly difficult to make a case for keeping him, despite the price. I think his ownership is reasonable, so I
can have McGinn instead.
Might even expect to drop. And there are some really nice players knocking about at that price point. Not least, Sam, you're absolutely right, Mr. John McGinn with another goal for Aston Villa, despite getting beaten 3-2 at Arsenal, collects I think the 3 bonus points.
Yeah,
and yeah,
10.
McGinn, a goal and 3 bonus points. So tell me about McGinn. Why should we be getting on him?
Well, I think, he was really unlucky not to get points on Monday, in the last game week on Monday night against West Ham. Really unlucky not to score.
He played well. We watched that game, didn't we?
Yeah.
He played well. He played very
really
well.
Unlucky. And then today, I mean, I do count this as a lot of luck. Well, so, do I think I was lucky today? No, not really. I played Lanzini on the basis that I didn't think he was going to play. So I thought, well, in case he does, he's got a nicer fixture, but otherwise McGinn can come on. But I think what McGinn is showing us is that as I said in pre-season, the way that he plays, he is so much more attacking than the likes of Grealish in that team. And
he looks their main threat. With all due respect to Wesley, I know Wesley got the goal today, but Wesley is sort of one of those. I was going to compare him to Allaire. I can't think of a player that I can compare him to, but he wins the ball, takes the pressure off the defence, and brings other players in like McGinn and like Grealish. And McGinn's runs from through that centre absolutely sensational. I think he's a really nice pick right now. I
genuinely can't see myself getting him out of my team.
Yeah,
which actually tells you a lot, given that. I have got budget to have a lot better a player than him, or a lot more expensive player, but I don't see the value in it. I think he's outstanding.
Okay, let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat. Karam is saying, McGinn was about to leave my team. Now he stays. Muck points, he says. Josh is saying, takes a lot of shots, ferocious strike, and on target most of the time. Yeah, he is reasonably accurate. If you look at his underlying stats, it's not just pop shots that are dribbling wide, right? These are good shots that he's getting on target. So he's doing some very, very nice, posting some very, very nice XG stats and some very, very nice shots on target stats. Robert Pankowski, thank you, Robert, for the super chat. It's a new name around here, so Robert, if you're new, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave. Pro tip, he says, pro tip, invest in... it's gone off the screen. Invest in Mendy before he scores a brace. Well, possibly. I mean, to see him back in the game this game week, I think means possibly the end of Zinchenko as a nailed-on option in that left-back position. But I personally would want to see a bit more of Mendy before I invest in him. Mendy, yes or no, very quickly?
I don't think he's going to play 90 minutes for a while yet. I think they're worried about
nice asset when he's fully fit and up to speed.
They're worried about his knee, but I think when he does come back, he will be good because he attacks. But
Jamstar is saying Mendy for Digne. Well, listen, if you want to get ahead of the game and Mendy does become an option, then it's not a bad punt to go on in the short term, I don't think. Where else should we go, Sam? We've got time to cover a couple more games. All right, go on. Go on. We got to talk about it. Go on. Leicester versus Spurs. I did say to you Saturday morning, I thought that would be a very, very difficult game for Spurs, and so it proved. Despite a really, really well taken goal from Harry Kane. I mean, goodness me, he doesn't just take a good penalty. He scores a great goal from when he's on the floor. I mean, Soyuncu. It was a blatant foul. It was the most blatant foul. Pushed him over, yet he still maintained his composure and dug it out of somewhere. It was absolutely sensational. Thoughts on Spurs in the game? We'll come to Leicester in a second because their fixtures are great over the next few game weeks. So Leicester are looking very investable right now. But Spurs, I'm afraid to say, don't look that investable.
It's away from... Right, okay, so we are doing the exact home-away... We've got just home-away issues.
Right.
So when Spurs play at home, which is where our fixtures are good... We're good.
Yeah.
When Spurs play away, we're not just bad, we are terrible.
There's something with you on the road at the minute which is not right. It's not right.
For me, there's also too much... So there's too much unnecessary change. I don't know what goes on in Poch's mind. I love Pochettino. I think the man is an absolute hero, and I wouldn't speak ill of him normally. But from a fantasy...
Is Pochettino's head in the game?
I don't know what's happened to him. But why is Lloris not playing in that game?
Because he had a baby.
Did he? What, he put one out himself?
Didn't you know that?
No,
Have I just got something? Have I got a baby watch that you didn't know about on your own team?
No, I didn't know that.
That's it. We're done. Game. Boom. Done.
Poch had a baby.
No, Lloris had a kid. Lloris's missus. If I've got this wrong, I might have egg on my face, but I'm pretty sure. Guys, get in the chat. Lloris's wife was giving birth. There we go. Alvin Blocks. Thank you very much. Don't need to look it up.
Well, I've got to find out if it was a boy or a girl now.
Hello, we're live on YouTube. Would you mind putting your phone down and talking about your team for a second?
Right, so yeah, I think I've got to know.
Charlie King, Lee's right. The Tesso, she did. That's right, Lee, Stephen Lang.
Unbelievable.
Her third child. Lloris is a daddy again, as he's saying. Correctly. Baby Watch. Come on, you're supposed to be on Baby Watch every week.
All right, I'll take that back. I didn't even know she was pregnant.
Yes.
What? How did I miss that one?
So,
I take Lloris' decision back then. However, I just think that there were a few decisions in that game that, for me, don't make any sense. So, Christian Eriksen looked tired on Wednesday night. He did in the Champions League game.
Sorry to cut across you. Honey Glazed Gammon, what a quote. Roy Keane, I hope he said this, because if he did say this, it would be hilarious. Roy Keane apparently said, "Why shouldn't Lloris be playing? He's not breastfeeding." Roy Keane, by the way. Roy Keane and
I'm not
Jose
sure-
Mourinho in the post-match between Chelsea and Liverpool. Fantastic value.
I'm not sure
Fantastic value.
I'm not sure he can say that. Right, okay.
I'm not sure you can
But
say
even-
that. Go
even-
on, I'll stop interrupting you.
Okay, so Lloris aside, Gessinger's a good player, and we as Spurs fans we all really like him. But the point is, it's unsettling. I feel like every week with the Spurs team, when we go away from home, there is unnecessary tinkering with the side. Eriksen, alright, he was tired from Wednesday night. I can sort of understand why he didn't get a place. But then Dele Alli's not even in the squad. No Sanchez, who's been playing well for us. It's just too much change away from home.
Talk me through the
no
FPL
consistency.
assets, though. So you've got
There
Son and
is none.
Kane. Oh, you can't just come out with a statement like that. Son is playing. He got an assist at the
All
weekend.
right, Son
He's
and
playing
Kane.
really well.
Son and Kane. And if you want to go for a defender, then I don't know why you do, but if you do, I know I still quite fancy him. But
Aurier?
No, Toby. I'd still have Toby.
Toby out of
because I think Aurier is too much of a rotation risk. I genuinely believe that man will do something stupid in the next couple of weeks and he'll sit on the bench for the rest of the season because that is his personality. That's what he does. Whereas Toby is getting up there and he's staying up there. But in doing that, we lack something defensively. They're not getting back quickly enough. There's no communication. And it does partly go back to what you were saying before when you were talking about Pickford and a lack of leadership at Everton. Without Lloris in the team, there was a real weakness at the back. Because I don't think...
Leaders back. You've got Alderweireld. You've got Vertonghen.
Yes,
They're leaders.
Yes, they are. They are leaders, but I don't think that. I think Lloris, as the captain, he governs where they are and he pulls them into the right positions. And I just don't think that Gessinger is that kind of vocal, and that is what they are used to.
All right,
So
this is turning into a Spurs live
look,
stream.
I'm telling
Let's
you,
talk FPL.
I'm going there next week. The only people I would ever trust at the moment to have in my team are Kane and Son, and at the moment, the way things are going, I'm going to stick with Kane.
Yeah, for me, if I was going to invest right now, which I'm not, but if I was, it'd be Son. It'd be Son.
And I can understand that, but you can only invest in those two, is my honest opinion, for Spurs at the moment.
Yeah, even Kane, and you guys are saying in the live chat, he started very well, took his goal very, very well, and then dropped deep again, which is a bit,
he
we
was
don't
unlucky
want to
not
see
to
that
get a
from our striker,
second.
right?
He was unlucky not to get a second. Obviously, Son was unlucky not to get a goal. I mean, it's Son and Kane, but otherwise stay off is my advice.
FPL Schwartz is in. Martin's here. How you doing, Martin? He's saying Spurs Ohana special coming up next week. Pretty much every week, if you want one, Martin. It's really no problem. You could easily do a Spurs Ohana every single week.
Nobody wants that, apart from Mark.
If that is what our patrons want, and Martin is a patron, if that's what he wants, then we can do a Spurs special pod, although I don't think too many people are considering Spurs right now. Let's have a talk to Azzy. Worried about Kane dropping Kane or Aubameyang right now? I think that is an easy decision right now with the fixtures, but I'm sure you would disagree.
I don't think it's an easy decision.
Okay. Leicester then, let's talk about them. The fixtures for Leicester. Let's have a look at them going forward. Very, very nice indeed. Newcastle at home, Liverpool away, which is clearly a difficult game, but then Burnley, Southampton and Palace. In actual fact, the fixtures look pretty good going forward after that too. We keep talking about this game week 9 shift of fixtures for Leicester. I am on Soyuncu, if that's how you say his name. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty happy to have him. I really like him. I think he's a really nice defender. All right, fouled Kane for the goal, and he probably shouldn't have done that. Kane made him pay anyway, right? But over the period of time that I've been watching him, and been watching him pretty closely since I've had him in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I like him. I think he's a nice defender. At 4.5, he's good value. Where else is there value in that Leicester side? Do you like Maddison? Seems to be taking a lot of shots at the moment. Not always on target, although the one that he did score was very, very good. But seems to be quite forward-thinking and taking shots left, right and centre at the minute.
Yeah. I do like Maddison. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
The thing is with Leicester is I kind of feel like it Vardy's obviously a great option. Maddison, I think, is a good option. I still really like. Still think there are others. I mean, Pereira obviously got a goal this weekend, so he's one to kind of keep an eye on. I kind of feel like I'm yet to decide on how to go about Leicester.
Well, I think if you're in that sort of position, you've got Newcastle at home, Liverpool away to potentially make your decision.
I think so.
Until game week 9. So yeah. I think if you were going to, I'm going to say gamble, but if you wanted to get on somebody early for that Newcastle game, given how inept Newcastle were at the weekend, and by the way, we are going to spend absolutely zero time talking about Newcastle versus Brighton at the weekend because it was awful. It's the worst game I've watched all season, so I'm not going to talk about that.
Was that the game that was on TV as well?
Oh, it's just tragic. But from a Leicester perspective, I must admit, despite Jamie Vardy now not getting anything in game week 5 against Man United or indeed against you guys in game week 6.
Nah, from game week 9 onwards, he's a great pick.
I still think he's a great pick, a great pick. Hakeem Bond is saying, where is Jose Perez? Well, listen, until we start seeing something from Jose Perez, I'm going nowhere near that guy. I did have him in game week 1. I lost 0.1 on him and then I ditched him. If he starts showing a bit of form, if he starts getting anywhere near that first team, which at the minute doesn't look like he's gonna, then he's going to be an option, right? I think he's 6 in the game now, maybe 6-1. He's had the more price drops than anybody else in the game, I think. That might be a game week 5 statement, but listen, he's dropped a lot. Could be pretty good. And as Tom Gravgard is saying, Perez had a shot this week. So there we go. He did have a shot. So he's in the game.
I think for me, my plan with Leicester was always Leicester from game week 9, and I feel like I still need a couple more weeks of understanding Leicester before I decide on who. I think the Soyuncu is an obvious pick at the back from game week 9 because he's cheap and all of that stuff, good stuff that we've just talked about. Potentially, actually, he's an obvious pick from next week, to be fair, because you won't get anything from Liverpool game, but you probably get a clean sheet against Newcastle because they are just rubbish.
Azzy is saying in Super Chat, by the way, Newcastle's his team, Sam.
Sorry, Azzy.
His team. He's saying Shah is the best centre-back outside the top 6. That may well be the case, Azzy, but around him he's got not a lot to shout about. Not a lot to shout about at the Toon at the moment. It's a club I really love, by the way, Azzy. I'm no moans about it.
And do you know what?
I love Newcastle. Great stadium, great fans. But I'll tell you what, that game at the weekend was enough to put anyone off.
Lowest attendance, wasn't it, since
lowest
2010?
Attendance at St James's for 7 years. Something's not right there.
Yeah, but we all know what's wrong. Just needs to sell the club and be done.
Possibly. Anyway, any more words on Leicester City? Anything else to say about that game?
No, just keep an eye on them because I think, as we say, Leicester have great fixtures coming up. From an FPL point of view, they will be great. It's just working out who the right one is. And I think Maddison will probably take he might take a price rise this week, but I think it's worth waiting on it to see who it is before we do it.
Very, very quickly, West Ham versus Manchester United. West Ham, without playing amazingly well, fairly comfortably beat a Manchester United side today. I thought West Ham were good. Didn't think they were amazing. I thought they lacked something without Lanzini. I didn't think they had the key to unlock Manchester United a lot of the time, especially in that first half. Lanzini's trickery was missed. But Manchester United, let's not labour the point because, it's Manchester United. They will bounce back at some stage. But something's not quite right there. In the post-match, Solskjaer, you could see it in his eyes. He was seething. And the Sky Sports interviewer was going in on him a little bit. Do you think you got the right players? Is this a crisis? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, listen, that's, all those questions. And Solskjaer was being very diplomatic, very cool, very calm, collected. But inside, you could see that he was seething. And they cut back to the studio and Roy Keane's sitting there. And he's gone in. He's gone absolutely in on Manchester United. So from an FPL perspective, I don't really think you would go anywhere, would you? I mean, Rashford pulled up. Rashford didn't look right through that whole game. Neville kept saying it in the commentary. Didn't look right that whole game. And actually,
he looked like
when
he was carrying an injury before he got injured.
Yeah, and when he went off, it was almost a bit of a, put him out of his misery a little bit. He had a bad game. Now, I know Martial's got to come back. And even Mason Greenwood might get some game time now in the short term because I think he's only out with an illness, right, rather than an injury.
Is he not having a baby as well that I've missed?
He's not. You've not missed a baby for Daniel James. I'm not sure he's old enough, actually, frankly. But no, you've not missed a Daniel James baby. Martial, I think, is coming back, but clearly will take a bit of time to get match fit. You know what he's like, get injured again, right? So United have got, all of a sudden, potentially a little bit of a crisis. And as you guys are saying, Otto Mard is saying even AWB looked interested. Well, I happen to think AWB, in particular in that first half, didn't look too bad. But again, his recovery, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's recovery tackles and runs are excellent. There's very few better players in the league at recovery tackles and runs. But isn't it worrying how many recovery tackles he needs to make? Insofar as he's always out of position or he's always, having to track back or run back because whoever it is in front of him in midfield is not covering him. He's always making so many recovery tackles. He's a bad stat, in my opinion. But listen, I do like him. I think he's a good player. And I do think United will recover. I'm just not sure how right now. I'm just not sure how.
Well, because they'll get to January and they'll buy somebody.
They've bought a lot of players, Sam. It's not as if they haven't bought anybody. But listen, we have no more time to talk about Manchester United.
But I think let's just talk about West Ham because
I was just going to finish up with Steve's super chat.
Oh, okay.
Because Steve, of course, regularly joins us and is a Manchester United fan. Ollie has himself to blame. Team selection garbage. You could be onto something there, Steve. You could be onto something. Although you've got a few injuries, it's difficult to pick the side up. Trying to stick up for him a little bit here, Ollie, but I tend to agree with you, Steve. I tend to agree with you. Go on then, West Ham. Quick 2 minutes on those guys.
I like West Ham. I've liked West Ham for a while now, and I must admit I was...
It's had a good season, eh?
Yeah.
Good season.
And I must admit I was anxious about West Ham today. I didn't think they'd get a lot out of the game if Lanzini wasn't playing, but Yarmolenko massively stood up, and I said to somebody on Instagram the other day, have a look at Yarmolenko, he could be a great differential pick, and lo and behold, he stepped up today, and he was brilliant in that game today.
The goal was odd as well, wasn't it? Because he sort of strayed offside, and then he made like an elliptical run, but behind United's defence. Lindelof stepped back to play him onside, and I just don't think he could believe that he could get a shot away on goal, and he just shot, and he was like, "Thanks very much." So it was a good performance. But against a better defence, I think he'd have been caught offside there.
Maybe, but I think with Yarmolenko, we've got to appreciate that this guy was injured for pretty much the whole of last season, and it wasn't just a little injury, it was a really bad injury. So this is a player who is still coming back to the best that he can play at. And for me, I think when he is fully back playing, and when Lanzini's playing alongside him, we'll start to see that lovely triangle that we had at the beginning of last season with him and Felipe Anderson and Lanzini.
From an FPL perspective, you're sticking with Lanzini, presumably?
As long as he's not long-term injured, yes. But if you don't own West Ham, I really do like the look of Yarmolenko, and I do think he's worth a punt, particularly if you've got a wild card coming.
Okay. Allaire as well. Not much from him in this one. Nothing from an FPL perspective in this game, but...
Again, I like him.
I do like him. I wouldn't give up on him if I had him. I don't have him. I'm not planning to bring him in on the back of that performance.
Tammy and that,
it's a hold for me on Haller. I wouldn't sell, but also wouldn't buy.
Correct.
Cool. All right. Let's talk about our teams and how we got on this game week. So I need to go back to my OBS, guys. Let's go in here. So my team for this game week, I had a stormer, guys. An absolute stormer. Don't mind telling you. In fact, would love to tell you. 94 points this game week. There is a very large veneer of jam on that, though. A very, very jammy Kevin De Bruyne captaincy. I captained Sterling. I vice-captained De Bruyne. Listen, it was jammy as hell, guys, but I will take it. I am due a bit of luck. There's no doubt about it. That is why the vice-captain is there, because with City, you never know that your Agueros or your Sterlings might suffer from the pep roulette. So that's it. You stick your vice-captain on somebody else in that game. So I'm very, very pleased with the 94 points. The tail of the tape is thus Otamendi with the goal and the assist and the clean sheet, an absolute hero. And
Lundstrom, hero.
What I like about the Otamendi pick, or my Otamendi pick, was that it wasn't just a shot in the dark, right? I did think that he carried a bit of goal threat. Said on the FPL pod last week, he was my essential differential when I went on the FPL pod last week.
Oh, you're loving that, aren't you?
Loving that. Even a broken clock will tell the time once a day, Sam.
Twice a day, in fact.
Twice a day. Lundstrom with the 12 points, absolutely going nowhere in my team. What a legend. What a great enabler he is in FPL. Same with Trent. Would love Trent to keep a clean sheet or two. I know he got a really nice double figure haul at Burnley. I feel like both he and Robertson, if you've had those two guys, I know the guys on Planet FPL Pod are treble Liverpool defence, right? And I'd be very interested to hear Suj and James on their pod this week to see whether their strategy is going to change. But they've got to be the unluckiest guys in FPL, haven't they? Like single sloppy goals every week. I mean, that strategy could have paid off big time.
Yeah.
Big time, were it not for Liverpool conceding these ridiculous
Trent
goals.
and Robbo both getting attacking
100%. 100%. So anyway, Trent's going nowhere. Soyuncu, okay, I played him. He's a bit longer term, right? From game week 9, he's the one to have. Pope chipped in with a clean sheet, happy with that. Salah with the very, very cheeky assist. Not McGinn, that's you. Gilbert is coming on with the 1 for Sterling, which, no
At least it wasn't Dendonka.
No big deal. Barnes and Pookie with the 2, but my nice differential Pepe has come off me this game. I'm very happy to have the 8 points from Pepe. Got booked as well, which is a bit disappointing, which might have just pushed him down from McGinn in the BPS. I don't know. Have a look at that later on.
Yeah, I think it probably did.
But going forward, I'm not sure on Pepe. He's given me a decision to make there, because against Watford he was terrible. Against Villa, I don't know, because I didn't watch the game and I haven't seen Match of the Day, but we'll be keeping a very close eye on his match of the day statistics and whether they point him out as a player, maybe he gets off the mark and they do some analysis on him. But guys, get over to Twitter, let me know, at FPL Family, how was Pepe today? I missed the game, but 8 points, I'm not going to sniff at that at all. But at the same time, if he was just given that penalty by Aubameyang and he's not on penalties going forward, and you guys tell me he was a bit on the periphery of that game today, he still then is a potential transfer out for me next game week, I'm afraid. Potentially,
Even
I don't
with
know.
the fixtures.
Well, listen, I want Mason Mount. And if I want Mason Mount, then I'm not going to upgrade from Dendoncker unless I do something drastic somewhere else. It's probably going to be Pepe for Mount with a little bit in the bank. But listen, 129,000
How many
overall
was
rank.
that in green?
I was at 1.1 million. 1.1 million.
Unbelievable,
That is-
million.
But that's this season, right? That's this season.
Up by a million.
That's how it can go. I've had weeks where I've gone flying up and weeks where I've gone crashing down. What's important for me is that in game week 7 that I have another half-decent game week to just sort of consolidate, because what's tended to happen is I have a good game week like this and then I'll crash the following week.
Yeah.
But listen, 94 points I'm very, very happy with indeed. Up to overall rank of 129k, which in this season, amongst all seasons where it is incredibly difficult to catch a break and catch these trends, I'll take 129k. I'm reasonably happy with that.
It's excellent.
And looking at my score and thinking 94, I'm thinking, well, listen, I'm going to be reining you in, Sam. I'll be like, that's it. Sam is going to be coming back down to my level and I'm going to overtake you. But it's not to be, because your team also put in an absolutely astonishing shift of 89 points. KDB, the captain, as well. But talk us through your team, in particular, the lack of luck that you had with your benched points last week.
No.
You've got that jamminess this week because...
Well, not quite, because Diop still got that 6 out there.
McGinn and Lundstrom coming off your bench for you. Diop isn't, but again, another phenomenal... And I can't wait to see whether you've beaten Suj again this week. Cause
what, with my bench?
The guys on Planet FPL...
No, because you had Robbo and Trent.
You beat Suj's team with your bench last week, which got a shout out on Planet FPL Pod. We've mentioned them a few times tonight, guys. If you're not following them and you're not listening to that podcast, you need to go and do that at Planet FPL. I'll be interested to see whether your bench has beaten Suj's 11 again.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Talk us through your team. Go on.
Yeah, so I didn't double up on Sheffield at the back because I wasn't convinced that Everton couldn't get something. So I benched Lundstrom. I was sort of in the back of my mind thinking Zinchenko might get dropped, so he might come on. Hence why he was my first defensive sub. As it happened, that went that way. Trent, I'm happy with. Dino, I'm obviously really disappointed with. He's going to go this week.
I feel like a bit of a defensive revolution is coming in your team.
I've still got my 2 free transfers, so Dino...
You've got 2 going to next game week?
Yeah,
right,
so Dino and Zinchenko will go. Midfield were great. Salah, obviously KDB is an absolute legend, and that man, he'd be on my Christmas list.
He's a season keeper, isn't he? He's going nowhere.
Yeah.
Unless he gets injured, he's going nowhere.
I played Lanzini because I thought that he had the nicer fixture, but equally I knew that if he didn't come on, I'd have McGinn, who, absolute hero again, came up with 10, which was fabulous. Disappointed with my Norwich assets this week because I was expecting a bit more from them.
Yeah.
But they do seem to be worse away from home, so there is that to play. Obviously delighted with Kane.
You're not going to get rid of Cantwell or Pookie, though, are you?
They're
pretty good at home.
I'm not going to get rid of them. And Tammy Abraham, I didn't bring in for this game week. I brought him in because he was going up in price and I didn't want to be priced out of him. So I brought him in just for this game week on that basis. But really, I've brought him in for game week 8 onwards.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm really happy with
Pretty
them.
happy with the team.
8k is
8.1k, guys. That is phenomenal right now. That is phenomenal. No doubt about it.
And when you think I was at 94k at the end of last game week, so to get from 94 to 8 in a game week is
very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. A nice super chat from Rohit there. Thank you, Rohit. He is saying, quick question, Sam. Barnes to Pookie or Tammy? I'm assuming that you would still go Tammy, would you? Or do you think Pookie's got to be in your team? Or maybe keep Barnes. I don't know.
No, I would have Tammy and Pookie over Barnes. But would I have Tammy over Pookie? I probably would because of the Chelsea fixtures, yeah. But I do really like Pookie too.
Another quick question from Samatar. Thank you, Samatar, for the question. Kane's next 3 fixtures: Southampton at home, Brighton away, Watford at home.
The home games.
Will you keep him?
Yeah. The home games and Kane are absolutely nad. Look, if we're ever going to win away from home, surely it's at Brighton.
Okay, all right. So there we go. A good week all round in the FPL family household. If only Spurs could have won, and then we would have been over the moon.
If only Spurs could have got a point.
Spurs getting a point at Leicester would have been good. We'd have taken that.
I'll just take anything.
Never mind. We will absolutely take 94 points and 89 points. One day, Sam, I will catch you. One day. It might not be for a few years, but one day I'll score 94 points and it will make a difference to our battle.
That has made a massive difference.
I want to catch you. That's the key thing.
But think about it. Before this game week, I was at 94k and you were at 1.1 million. Now I'm at 8 and you're at what?
129, I think.
So you are significantly
complain.
Closer to me than you were before.
I cannot complain. You're absolutely right. Here's a quick update for our patrons in the Manager of the Month for September. As we know, the Manager of the Month for September only running for 3 game weeks, 5, 6 and 7. So we've already had 2 out of the 3 game weeks. All comes down to game week 7 and who's going to win it. At the top right now, it is pretty close, Sam. It's pretty close. Jason Ryan is at the top. One of our new patrons over on Patron and Slack. And by the way, guys, if you want to check us out on Patreon, we'd love you to do that. Links in the description below, patreon.com/FPL Family. The September Manager of the Month League is now closed for new entrants. So if you've had an amazing game week 5 and 6 and you think, get in that league and I'll smash it in game week 7 and win the prize. Bit unfair to everybody else that's played for the other 2 game weeks. So I've closed September, but October's league will be available pretty much in the next week or so.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in and support us, you get into the Manager of the Month tier at the $5 tier. You'll be able to get into the October Manager Month very, very soon. And we will have prizes from kickingtheballs.com. Again, signed memorabilia, signed footy shirts, all that good stuff. Go and check out all the details. Patreon.com/FPL Family.
And I think Jay is Arsenal. We're yet to buy an Arsenal Manager of the Month prize.
That's true. I'm pretty sure Jay's not going to want a Liverpool shirt like the rest of our patrons.
I mean, I'll happily send him something from Kane if he wants.
Oof, no. Absolutely not. So Jason is top, up from 5th to 1st with a really nice game week of 84.
Lovely.
Captain Aguero,
lovely,
very
lovely,
nice
lovely.
indeed. Kieran Screeton is 2nd with his team, which is brilliantly named Pain in the Vase.
And he was number 1 last week, wasn't he?
He was 1, he's down to 2. Game week points of 71.
Lovely.
Mark Dorney with another cracking game week, 83.
He'd want Spurs.
Up to 3rd. Strange enough, I'm in 4th, would you believe? But 94 points is very, very good. I'm very happy with that. So that's up there. Moved me up to 4th. Anthony in 5th. Marlon actually joint 5th by the looks of things, 135 points. Alex in 7th, Ewan, Denville, and then yourself, Sam, at 10. So,
top 10 for me.
What have we got? We've got Jason at 144. I would say, what's that, 11 points? 12 points between you and Jason. 12 points is nothing. And you've seen
That's
game
the right
weeks.
captain.
You've seen game weeks fly up and down all the time with different scores. That is
That's
just
Lundstrom.
That is a Lundstrom captain
Different.
away from being the winner of the Manager of the Month for September. So guys, head over to patreon.com/FPL Family if you want to take part in the Slack, get the Ohana pods, you want to do the Manager of the Month and win all those great prizes. We would love you to go and support us and check us out over on Patreon. Now that is about it, Sam, for this week. Now we did at this live stream this time last week talk about the fact I was going on the pod last week and the fact that you were going on FYI. We had some mix up with dates, guys. We're not going to go into it, but anyway, I am on FPL FYI next week.
You'll see me the week after.
And you're on the week after.
Yeah.
So I'm on with James and Rambo. This Tuesday we are recording it, so it's probably going to go out
What a
Wednesday.
week for you to go on it.
I am delighted.
You just smashed it.
I am delighted to be going on FYI
You can go
this
on there
week.
and go, I've smashed it.
94.
James, Rambo, FPL done.
That's me. I'm never coming back because I'm never going to get better than 94. So I'm going on FPL FYI on Tuesday. So guys, look out for that. If you've not subscribed to the Premier League's new YouTube channel, check it out right after you've finished here with us here on FPL Family. Go type Premier League into the YouTube search bar. You'll find their channel. Hit subscribe, hit notify, and you'll know when all the videos and when FYI is available. So that'll be probably Wednesday of next week, guys. So look out for that. That is it. That is it. You're right. Let's do the polls. You guys are all in the live chat saying polls. Don't forget the polls.
Polls.
Now we've got to say, what was the thing about the first KDB being Aguero?
Second
or the first, what was
Aguero is KDB.
Such a cock up, isn't it? Goodness me.
Well, it wouldn't be a stream if you didn't do something.
Goodness me. Most crucial Man City attacking assets, Sam. Aguero, Sterling,
Aguero, KDB.
KDB, Bernardo, or someone else.
KDB.
So the second Aguero.
Yeah.
36% are saying
KDB. Yeah, because he is.
36% are saying KDB. 21% are saying the real Aguero. 17 are saying Sterling. 22 someone else, interestingly. So there's possibly some thoughts for
Bernardo.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's most people saying, well, you haven't put KDB in there, you absolute knobhead. So I'm going someone else.
Yeah, could be. Yeah,
probably
could
what
be,
people
could
say. Let's not worry about that poll. Best defender under 5.5 million. Lundstrom, Mings, Alderweireld, Otamendi or Soyuncu. Lundstrom,
like,
okay.
Toby's the most handsome.
48%. God. 48% of you guys are saying Lundstrom. 42% saying Otamendi. So we're pretty split between Sheffield United and Man City here.
That.
Oh yeah, I'm not. I'd say that's pretty spot on. Lundstrom is clearly the one, I think. Mings 1%, Toby Alderweireld 1%, Soyuncu 6%.
It wasn't even me that was the 1%.
It wasn't even you. No, Lundstrom 48%, Otamendi 42%. I like that. Best attacking FPL duo, Sam. Is it the Chelsea boys, Abraham and Mount, Norwich, Pukki and Cantwell, Hallow and Lanzini from the Hammers, Vardy and Maddison from Leicester, Rashford and Martial from Manchester United? What are you saying for FPL over the next few weeks?
Chelsea. Abraham and Mount.
Chelsea, Abraham and Mount, 65% going with you. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. Given not just the fixtures, but the value for both of those. It's the value, isn't it? Because Vardy and Maddison, all well and good, right? But that's going to cost you 16, maybe 17 million. Abraham and Mount's going to cost you 10 or 11. So yeah, value-wise, 65% of you guys agreeing with Sam. The Chelsea boys, Abraham and Mount, are the best attacking FPL duo. Shout out for Pukki and Campbell, though, 23%, so you're still going to get value from those guys.
They're still great.
8% Vardy and Maddison, given the fixtures coming up. Not surprised to see those guys registering a few votes. Rashford and Martial, 1%. Hala Lanzini, 0 for the West Ham boys. Best premium option for the next 5 to 6 game weeks, Sam. Kane, Salah, Sterling, Aguero or Aubameyang?
KDB.
Can we consider him premium? I still think he's amazing value. Out of those 5,
premium
what are you
for the
saying?
next 5 to 6.
Albert, I would say, or maybe Aguero or Aubameyang.
Well, I was going to go Kane because of the fixtures.
Kane, 4%. 23% Aguero, 24% Sterling. So about a quarter of you going with the City boys, but Aubameyang in there at 38%. Very, very nice indeed. Salah at 9. Kane at the bottom with 4. Really, Kane?
I think he's going to become really good.
He's playing centre defensive midfield. Not going to get a penalty or be tripped over every day, is he?
Right, can you say goodbye so we can go and have a domestic?
Guys, that is it. Thank you for joining us. And what was a brilliant game week for both of us. Very, very happy with those scores on the doors. And I think there's a few very decent scores out there in the community as well. So if you're in the 60s and 70s, well played. If you're even more than that, the 80s and 90s, absolutely fantastic game week. Some nice scores knocking about. Look out for me on FPL FYI later this week. We'll be live streaming as ever Sunday night 8 PM when we will be reviewing all of the game week 7 action. All of you guys following us on Patreon can check us out on the Slack over the course of the week. And of course we'll be doing another Ohana podcast on Friday. Based. Probably just a Spurs-based one.
Spurs.
Who knows?
I mean, they've asked for it now.
That's it. A Spurs-based
20
Ohana
minutes
podcast.
Of Spurs Ohana.
Good Lord.
Only Mark will listen.
The Patreon numbers have just plummeted.
It won't be all Spurs, I promise.
It won't be all Spurs. Guys, thank you for joining us.
There will be an interaction live from New White Hart Lane next Saturday.
Ooh, live interaction from the stadium.
Yes.
So if you're not following us at FPL Family over on Instagram, go head over to Insta and check us out over there. Hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. Like, share and subscribe. And we will see you this time next week. Thanks, guys, for... I was going to say sharing. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining and sharing.
Take care, everyone. Bye.